Welcome back to the channel, everybody. As you can see, we're still at the CRAI Summit in New Orleans. And, you know, I'm always trying to bring you guys value and find ways that can really benefit you guys. And this company, Otso, is somebody that I was talking to. This is Josh. Josh, thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
He's part of Otso. And it's very interesting what they're doing. So I asked him to come on and really give us a breakdown of what you guys do, where you do it, and how do you do it.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you sharing us with your great audience. I'm Josh Feinberg. I'm one of the founders of Otso. We call ourselves, a very fancy word, comprehensive risk provider for commercial real estate landlords. What that means is that we write multi-year bonds in lieu of cash security deposits or personal guarantees. Our core business is allowing tenants to free up significant liquidity while providing landlords with a lot more coverage against the risks of leasing. So think TI, commissions, those deal costs that kind of give everybody heartburn. We make sure the landlord's got enough coverage from us while the tenant gets to put their money into useful things. Unlike zero interest security deposits for 5 years.
All that good stuff. So is it like a bond? Is that what you guys are like?
It is. It's a physical surety bond. We're the only multi-year surety bond. And what I mean by that is, by definition, bonds are 1 year. And so if you've heard in the residential sphere, there's great companies like Sure Deposit, Jetty, Lease, and others, the guarantors, that do this for apartments and residential.
Right.
Big difference between them and us is most apartment leases are 1 year.
Right.
Commercial real estate, we make multi-year commitments in 99% of cases. So our bond is the only bond that if you're at a 5-year lease, it's 5 years. Tenant doesn't need to reapply. It's A-rated, AM Best, excellent credit. You're not offloading risk to a startup. Let me say that twice. You're not offloading risk to a startup. It's owned by a significant surety with a $2.5 billion credit line.
Do you have minimums and maximums, or what do you have?
Great question. So we have deals as small as co-working deals that are 1,500 square feet or $1,500 a month, and then I've got deals that are $5 million bonds in New York City and Manhattan.
Oh, I would have guessed your minimums were if I'd be a little smaller.
We consider ourselves a fintech more than a prop tech, but we tried to build our solutions kind of like Rocket Mortgage feels and looks like. So let's say you're a landlord, we would provide you with a secure encrypted link. Any tenant at any point could come in, whether they're an existing tenant and you want to incentivize a renewal, or you have vacancy and it's a new prospect. They can run through that link. They stay in your ecosystem. They only see your building. They apply for your building. About 5 minutes later, they're going to go through that process. The coolest thing is they're actually going to physically log into their business bank account. And we're going to yank out 2 years of cash history. So we take the unaudited and create them, make them audited, for lack of a better term. Then what we really most landlords want to know, which is they have money and they consistently have money, i.e. they can support rent. From there, it doesn't cost anything. We'll quote you what it costs to have a bond on. You can offer the tenant an option. Say, hey, tenant, option A, write me a check for a security deposit. It's $100,000. Option B, keep your $100,000 and pay me $450 a month. 93% of the time, they'll choose us.
I would think so. So the costs are not prohibitive by any means.
They're pretty nominal. We can also schedule things to burn down, as I'm sure you're familiar with. A lot of security deposits or guarantees burn down over time. So our policies are structured that way often as well, where it'll go with good performance from, say, 500,000 to 300, et cetera, et cetera.
If I'm a landlord, why would I not use you guys?
Yeah, so most of our time is spent introducing the concept to landlords. I get a lot of I've never heard of this before. It's true. You have never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's brand new. That being said, we as Otso have been around for roughly 3 years. Our surety has been around a lot longer than that. Like I said, you're not offloading risk to a startup in any sense or shape or form. Really for landlords, it's about understanding how to use us best. My favorite use of the program actually is not in new deals, it's renewals. I think there's not a lot of ways that we as landlords can go to tenants, year 3 of a 5-year lease. With Otso, you can't, because you can say, hey, I've got $100,000 of your money. Would you like it back?
Yeah.
Let's add some term to it. Because the whole way we value buildings is rent, term, and credit.
Right.
We want to beef up your income streams and beef up your balance sheets.
So I get it from the tenant side. I get it from the landlord side. But let's talk, I'm a commercial real estate agent, so I've got to ask, how can this benefit us? How can it benefit the brokerage side?
Sure. So the agency side, and I was a broker for 10 years, so I'm reformed now. But I spent 10 years.
You've seen the light?
Yeah, and I'll tell you that sine wave of being a broker. You can imagine that up and the down, the up and the down.
Yeah.
I want to create that bottom line that starts buffeting those valleys.
Yep.
So we actually split and share, should you choose. 10% of our net recurring revenue on every policy you do with us. You can rebate your clients, or you can take it internally. It's your choice. But we share revenue on a recurring basis. I will tell you, nobody ever misses a payment. I'm literally taxes and insurance.
Right.
So it's a great recurring revenue stream. And that's the hard part about brokerage, is that roller coaster of transactions.
Absolutely.
We want you to stay on that roller coaster because that's your high-end revenue. I want to create, for your firms, a really consistent source of recurring revenue. And we feel like we can do it.
Yeah, I would think so, because if, as a broker, you're always looking to get the deal done, and this is going to free up capital for my tenant that's out there looking. So it's just kind of a win-win-win for the tenant, landlord, and broker.
The only people we end up fighting with a little bit is the attorney. They don't get paid $800 an hour to not make comments to our bond.
I can imagine.
Once the landlord, we endeavor to set a template. They'll make 9 comments and charge you $900.
Yeah.
Once that's done, we use the same bond over and over and over again.
Being where you guys are at in the industry, there's not much competition out there. I mean, do you guys have competition?
So we don't really have competition from a company that does what we do.
Right.
We have competition from the status quo.
Okay.
And so some landlords just straight up prefer cash. Yeah. Some of them love letters of credit. That's changing.
Yeah.
Once I show them that, hey, you're actually collecting about 10% of what you should be,
right.
The tune changes. But that's an education process, and that'll happen with time.
So I was leading you into, how are the attorneys adjusting to it? Because if it's new to them, this is new. I'm not sure.
I was actually talking with Mike from Tenant Base before I walked in,
gotcha.
And he and I were lamenting the life of attorneys. The reality is, I actually view it as product development. So when I get an institutional landlord with Silverstein that refers me to SCAD and ARPA, do I like paying them? No.
Yeah.
But they improve our product.
Sure.
They make it more institutionally acceptable. And so I don't look at it as attorneys as a negative. They are expensive, but they help us.
Yeah.
They help us make a more acceptable product, which in turn makes it easier for brokers to integrate into their businesses.
Okay. What's the biggest deal you guys have done so far?
We got a $5 million deal we're doing right now in New York. It's World Trade Center 3, 2 full floor lease.
Really?
So that's a lot of fun for us. But honestly, I like working with the small to mid-sized businesses.
Yeah, really easier to communicate.
Well, we automate that stuff. And honestly, those are businesses you're really helping. That money really matters. It's the second location for them. It's a new bakery. And people forget that's the lifeblood of America. It's working on those deals. I'm sure you have a ton of people in your audience that have grown that first location to 10.
Oh, yeah.
And that feels great.
Well, it'd be a lot easier if you had more capital. And,
wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, and where you guys free up that capital for them, that can help a lot.
Yeah.
All right, what should I have asked you? What question did I miss on? What's the most important thing you hear out there?
That's a great question. And I'm not quite sure how to answer because I think we kind of covered everything we do.
I was just covering my ass. That's all I was doing.
No, I think we covered it. I think what I would suggest is that if you haven't heard of us and you want to hear of us, come to otso.io, otso.io. It's very alliterative. You'll get myself and Marissa. We're the founders. There's plenty of us all over the country, but we do this every day. And so we view our relationships with our brokerage partners and our landlords as long-term sequences. So if you've got a problem, you've got a question, we're here for you.
Well, we're going to put your link down below in this video so they can find you nice and easily.
Awesome.
Josh, thank you for coming in today.
Hey, thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate you, man. Enjoy the summer.
And for those of you watching, make sure you give us a like. And if you haven't done so, you need to get subscribed. Thank you.